In the first reading of today, which is taken from the book of Amos, we read the story of Amos. Amos was a herder of sheep. Amos was a shepherd. And even as Amos was herding his sheep, he received a message from God, and that message said that Amos was to be a prophet. The word prophet comes from the Greek propheme, which means to speak on behalf of God. The prophet does not necessarily foretell the future, but the prophet does speak on behalf of God. And so, Amos is accosted by Azariah the priest, and he is told that he is only a herder of sheep, that he is a shepherd. And Amos says, yes, that is true, that is my occupation, but I have been given a vocation. Even in my occupation, even in my profession, I have been given a vocation, and that is to speak on behalf of God. In the gospel text of today, which is taken from Mark chapter 6, verses 7 to 13, we will read about other prophets whom Jesus sends. Jesus has chosen disciples, and unlike every other rabbi of his time, the disciples would not merely sit at the feet of Jesus all their lives and only learn from him. They would sit at his feet, learn from him, and then be sent out themselves as Jesus also went out. And that is why in the gospel text of today, which is known as Mark's mission discourse, the disciples are sent out as apostles and as prophets, just as Amos was sent by God. Even as Jesus sends the disciples out, he provides them with a strategy. And that strategy that Jesus provides them is summarized in one word, and that word is detachment. Detachment means I am attached to nothing. Detachment means that I can let go of all my comforts, of all my luxuries. I can let go of anything. Detachment means that while I might possess things, I will not let things possess me. Detachment means that while I might own things, I will not let things own me. And that is why when Jesus sends the apostles out as prophets into the world, he says to them, take no bag, no bread, no staff, no money. The detachment is also from the point of view of being free and unencumbered in order to show in action that one is a true prophet. If I am attached to things, if I cannot let go of things, then what message would I be able to give to someone who wants to encounter God? And that is why this strategy of detachment first from the externals. The second strategy, again of detachment, which Jesus gives is from the outcome of mission. When he tells his disciples, if there are those who will not listen to you, do not worry about them. Your job is not that they listen to you. Your job is to communicate God's love. As a matter of fact, the more you love, the more God's love will be communicated. So even if they do not accept that love, do not worry about that, because that is the result of your missionary work. That is the result of your prophecy, and the result of the prophecy is not in our hands, but in God's hands. And so the disciples move out, and we are told that the disciples are successful in mission because they followed the instructions of Jesus. Like Amos, each one of us is engaged in a profession or an occupation, either self-employed, employed by another, in this field or in that field, and all of us have got our jobs to do. But even as Amos had his job of herding sheep, he was given a vocation. So within our occupations, within our profession, we are also given this vocation. And the vocation is, as disciples of Jesus, to communicate God's love. And we communicate God's love by showing in our own lives that we are detached persons, that we don't hold on to things, that things do not possess us, that we can let go, that we can be generous. We are not accumulators, we are not gatherers, but we are givers. We are responders. This is how we show God's love. And if there are those who do not want to accept this love, if there are those who close their ears and their eyes and their hearts to receiving this love, it does not matter, because we have learned through the instructions of Jesus even to be detached from the outcome of mission. Our job is not to focus on what will happen after our engagement in mission. Our job is to engage in mission boldly, like Amos did, boldly like the disciples did. Both of them were successful in their mission. We will also be. Will you, as a person occupied in your own field of work, realize that you are called to be a prophet like Amos was, to speak on behalf of God? Will you, as a disciple of Jesus, realize that you are being sent on a mission of communicating God's unconditional and eternal love?